Donald Trump's level of panic has never been higher because although he has spent the last 2 weeks screaming at MAGA Republicans in his own base to shut up about Epstein, not only has he been unable to get his supporters to fall in line, but he's been unable to get his staff to fall in line. The shocking bombshell we got out of the Wall Street Journal yesterday that Donald Trump was told he was in the Epstein files in a secret meeting with Pam Bondi didn't just reveal that Donald Trump was confirmed to be in the Epstein files, it revealed that someone in that secret meeting was leaking about it. And it's the reason Trump is now attacking his own staff in a crazy meltdown that we're going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into this shocking Epstein report, first, I want to start with some very important breaking news out of the Oversight Committee. Congresswoman Summerlee breaking down what is coming out of recently subpoenaed Epstein files.
For being here. So a lot has happened today, and I just tried to outline it. The full Oversight Committee said is going ahead with the subpoena. What happens next?
Well, next, after Comer signs it, right? He said it. He has to sign it. He signed the one for Maxwell within 24 hours. So he says that we expect it. Then the DOJ has to release those files to the federal law enforcement ranking subcommittee, to the minority and majority, and we go from there. But right now, what we asked for were the unredacted, complete files. Aside from the First Amendment, there were other amendments to, try to change the language or try to give the DOJ a little bit of wiggle room. That failed. They have to give us the complete unredacted files.
Do you have any sense, you may or may not, but for people who are watching who may not have voted for you, may not like me either, how long this could take? Like how long until the subcommittee might have these files?
So that I don't know the answer to, right? So we know that we're going to be out, right? We're leaving today. They were so hell-bent on making sure that we didn't subpoena them that they canceled session early. So we're gone until, we come back in September. But again, if he's able to move to sign the subpoenas from earlier this week's subcommittee hearings, we expect that he's going to sign these ones just as quickly. And I don't know why they wouldn't be able to give them to us relatively immediately. They exist. They have for a long time. They have them.
So not until September, but you could get them earlier.
We can get them earlier. The committee could get them earlier. We just won't have any actionable state. But absolutely, why would we not be able to get them?
One of the things I just mentioned is Republicans added, I know you worked with many of them today, but they added subpoenas for people like Bill and Hillary Clinton, James Comey, Loretta Lynch. What do you think that tells us? What is that all about?
We know what it is, right? They are desperate for this narrative that Democrats are trying to protect their own and we're trying to protect our own. But that's what they misunderstand about us, right? At the end of the day, if someone has participated in child sex trafficking, I don't care if they're a prince or a president or if they're anybody in between, they should be held accountable. Democrats aren't saying that, oh, well, we're afraid of who might be on it. No. So them bringing in Bill Clinton right now, it cost us anything if that's what they want to do, right? So again, they were just trying to make this a both sides thing to make up for the fact that they are being hypocrites, that they said that this is what they want. You saw, right? We read off all of the members of the subcommittee who called very publicly for these files to be released. We saw that they ran on this in the last election, from Trump on down to all of his folks. They all ran on this. So they're just trying to distract from the fact that they're being hypocrites, that they know that they're choosing to protect Donald Trump over the very victims that they keep giving lip service to, that they're choosing to protect Donald Trump over transparency for the American people that they're calling for, the very base, and all Americans of all different parties. And that's really what that was about.
This is huge news and isn't just a win for Democrats, but is Republicans caving to the pressure that they are feeling from their own constituents. On the Oversight Committee, we saw an 8-2 vote with Republicans joining Democrats to vote in a subpoena for the Epstein files. They are no longer feeling more heat from Donald Trump than they are their own supporters, and it is just going to continue to create this civil war in MAGA. Mike Johnson thinks he can shut down Congress to shut down this conversation. He cannot, because even Donald Trump's own staff want to continue to talk about the Epstein files, and he is losing it over that. And that's why we saw this report right here. Desperate Trump cracks down on his own team talking about Epstein as crisis spirals. Donald Trump is hoping the outrage surrounding the Jeffrey Epstein files will eventually blow over if his administration just stops talking about it, according to a report. In a shift from the usual strategy of publicly defending Trump at all costs, the White House officials have reportedly implemented a gag order on the administration discussing Epstein without high-level vetting, a senior administration official told NBC News. The communications office has to be directly involved in every aspect of this, the official said. Every I must be dotted, every T must be crossed through this. Trump, who's been desperately trying to distract his MAGA base from the late pedophile's crimes with wave after wave of outrage bait, is also hoping the anger will die down if his inner circle stops talking about Epstein, a source close to the White House told the outlet. The president's aides realized a full-blown media blackout was a non-starter, as they still want officials to praise Trump's policies and message on television. Instead, Trump and his team came with a compromise to convince his administration to quickly move on and not try to defend the president when the issue of Epstein comes up. The questions are going to come, but whether we engage or not is part of the consideration, the official said. Despite Donald Trump and his inner circle promising to release all the Epstein files, the FBI and Justice Department said that they won't be releasing any further documents. A concerned Trump has already tried and failed to convince his supporters to move on from Epstein, even issuing a rare attack on his own supporters, claiming that they bought into a BS conspiracy hook, line, and sinker. The shift underscores just how much Trump's team is struggling in its attempt to control the Epstein narrative, which has riled up the president's MAGA base for weeks now. So Donald Trump is now attacking his own staff and begging them to please shut up about the Epstein issue, going off on anyone who dares speak out against it without the proper briefing, whatever that may be, which is just lie and say Obama did it or Biden did it or Hillary did it. Or I don't know what other new conspiracy or idiotic narrative they want to come up with. But honestly, I think this is still a terrible approach. Donald Trump is just going to allow this space to be filled with everyone else talking about Epstein, and we are going to continue to. And when he puts his MAGA mouthpieces out there to defend him, it doesn't go well. And one of the worst examples we saw that came from someone we horribly dislike on the show, and that's Scott Jennings right here.
Name is in the Jeffrey Epstein files weeks before the Justice Department came out and said, you know what, we're not releasing anything more. We're done with this.
Yeah, nothing to see here. Look, I will stipulate that it is not a surprise to know that Donald Trump's name is in those files. That does not mean he did anything wrong. And because we knew that, anybody who lived in New York in the 90s knew that there was a relationship because they would pal around. They were, like we're seeing right there, they were photographed together. Now, the difference is now he's the president, and the way that the White House has completely mishandled this situation and continues to mishandle it, I think is very telling. Scott's putting a brave face on it, but let's be clear. His members of his own base, you have conservative media influencers and folks with their, actors who they're the ones who are unhappy. And this is completely a crisis that Donald Trump created for himself because he trafficked in conspiracy theories and, crazy, and made a promise. And the problem here is, I agree with Scott. I don't know that I would say he's lost his base, although I do think Republican members are going to go home and they're probably going to hear about this from people. And I think there's a couple of pieces here, right? There's the one piece that is sincerely about getting to the truth, and this case is one in which I think people have been interested in that for a very long time and have a great deal of empathy for the young women who are now, they were girls at the time, who, God bless them, they deserve justice. And, they're terrified by all accounting from those who've been talking to them. And I think one thing we need to make sure of is let's make sure we're protecting them in this process. I think that's something we can all agree on. But there's another piece to this, which is, it's not just about Trump breaking a promise. This is about, and I say this as a Catholic, this is a lot to me like the Catholic Church scandal. Are you standing on the side of the powerful, or are you protecting the vulnerable? Because Donald Trump has the power to make this happen today if he wanted to. And instead, he's obfuscating with let's get the grand jury testimony. Let's go have Todd Blanche talk to, Ghislaine Maxwell. Well, that's not the same thing as saying, you know what, we're going to redact the names of the women and protect the girls, and we're going to make the information available. And the last thing I'll say, John, the reason it matters, it's not just about whether or not Donald Trump is in there. It's about who else is in there who are likely very powerful people, mutually assured destruction here with a lot to lose. And Donald Trump is protecting them over these young women.
May I just rebut? I actually agree with a lot of what Karen said about the need to protect victims and to keep them in mind here. But if it is a cover-up or some scheme to protect Donald Trump today, what would you have called it, say, during the Biden administration when they had these exact same records for 4 years and not a shred of it was put out? Would you say they were covering up for the powerful too? Because if you're alleging it today, you must have been alleging it then.
Well, no, actually, that's not what I'm saying, Scott, and you know it, so please don't be disingenuous.
They had the records.
Donald Trump is the one, hold on, Donald Trump is the one who made this an issue. The only reason this is an issue right now is because Donald Trump for years has been talking about releasing these records. It is his base that has been interested in, okay, you had the whole show of the meeting at the White House with the binders. Ghislaine Maxwell was sentenced in 2022. She was in prison. And you did have Debbie Wasserman Schultz has been trying to pass legislation to protect victims from these types of secret sweetheart deals like we saw Epstein get. But again, it is Donald Trump's base that has been clamoring. It is the Laura Loomers of the world who are attacking him about this that have kick this up. And there's the only reason is because of Donald Trump's promise. I'm not saying, cover up or not. I'm saying, who are you going to protect with your power? Are you going to protect wealthy men or are you going to protect the vulnerable? That's the question now.
It's a good question, but I would just ask this, who was Biden protecting with his power?
We're going to leave it with that question, but also with the question of if he was told in May that his name is in the files, why then say no, he wasn't told last week? It does beg more questions, and we will keep on asking.
They did use the phrase in the Wall Street Journal, unverified hearsay. If they're calling, what's he fighting here? Unverified hearsay.
The New York Times and CNN have both reported by multiple sources that the president was briefed Bondi, and the White House hasn't really denied it.
But what he said is that the file contains references to him that are unverified hearsay. That's what the Journal says.
Was he lying or is he senile? Which is it?
This is so embarrassing for MAGA. These conspiracy theorists have been promising their huge victory for so long, but it just looks like it's never going to come for them. And we will continue to mock that and call it out on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.